Welcome back to Reddit Echoes, where real stories hit harder than fiction. Today we're diving into some of the wildest, most unbelievable posts the internet has ever produced, the kind that make you yell at your screen, question humanity, or just sit back and enjoy the chaos. If you love dramatic twists, messy family dynamics, and justice served with a side of sarcasm, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Story 1. The house. My mom promised me, then stole. For almost 9 years, I thought I was building a future. Not a dream mansion or I'm a 21-year-old woman, anything fancy, just a stable home for me and my kids. Back in 2015, my mom bought a small house because she was planning to leave her husband. But when she changed her mind about the divorce, she offered the house to me instead. She made it sound like an opportunity, a way for me to invest in my future, a chance to build something of my own. The deal was simple, or so I thought. I would pay everything, the mortgage, the lot rent, utilities, repairs, upgrades, all of it. And once the home was completely paid off, she would transfer the title to me. Her name was only there for legal convenience. I trusted her. She was my mom. So I moved in and poured nearly a decade of money work and hope into that house. I refinished cabinets, replaced flooring, fixed appliances, put in new fixtures. Everything that made that house livable came from my pocket and my effort. Then, in 2022, the roof started leaking. I called her for advice, but she didn't know anyone who could do small repairs. My boyfriend at the time helped me patch it up, and I bought the materials myself. Problem solved, or so I thought. A week later, she suddenly sent someone she knew to inspect the roof because the house was still in her name. And without asking me, she decided to replace the entire roof. When I questioned the cost, she waved it off with, "Don't worry, God always provides," which was apparently her way of saying, "Don't worry, you will be paying for this later." Fast forward to early 2023, and she suddenly demanded $3,000 for the roof. No warning, no agreement, just a bill. I told her it wasn't fair and offered to pay in installments, but she got furious. By early 2024, I was so close to paying off the house, only $3,500 away. I was exhausted, but I could finally see the end. I was ready to put this behind me. And then, February happened. She raised the roof cost to $4,500, and then added random, nonsensical fees. And then she gave me an ultimatum: pay over $20,000 in 1 week, or move out. No explanation, no discussion. Just a threat wrapped in spiritual language. You have to decide which path you want to take. When I refused, she escalated. She showed up at my house unannounced, banging on the door, refusing to leave until the police forced her to. My kids were terrified. I was exhausted. And I realized something I had refused to admit. This house was never going to be mine. She was never planning to keep her promise. I was just a source of money. So on May 1st, 2024, I packed up my kids and left. A few weeks later, I found out she sold the house. The house I paid for. The house I repaired. The house I poured 9 years of my life into. And she kept every single penny. But according to my family, I'm the bad guy for cutting her off. I'm heartless. I'm ungrateful. I'm ruining family relationships. And apparently I'm the villain for refusing to let her see my kids. But here's the part they conveniently ignore. My kids also want nothing to do with her. They were old enough to understand what happened. Old enough to feel the betrayal, too. And every time she shows up at their school or sports events uninvited and causes a scene, it only confirms their decision. So I started looking into legal options, restraining orders, no contact orders, anything to protect my kids and myself. Of course, my family insists I should move on because it's not worth losing family over a house. But they weren't the ones who spent nearly a decade paying for it. They weren't the ones who got kicked out. They weren't the ones who had to uproot their kids' lives. And they certainly weren't the ones betrayed by the person they trusted the most. It's been almost a year now. I'm still rebuilding. I'm still sorting out the legal process. I'm still dealing with relatives who think blood excuses everything. But I'm also learning something important. Sometimes the most toxic people in your life share your DNA, and cutting them off isn't cruelty, it's survival. So honestly, I don't feel bad for protecting my kids. I don't feel bad for setting boundaries. And I definitely don't feel bad for staying away from someone who stole my home and then demanded access to my children like nothing happened. My family may think I'm too harsh, but I think I'm finally doing what I should have done years ago. And if choosing peace makes me the butthole, then so be it. Story 2. My friends insist I'm a lesbian because I don't dress straight enough. I'm a 21-year-old woman, and apparently my biggest flaw is that I don't dress straight enough. That's news to me, but not to my friends, apparently. So here's what happened. My style is pretty masculine. Short hair, deep voice, loose clothes, no makeup. Sometimes waiters call me sir, and honestly, I don't care. If I'm never seeing them again, why bother correcting them? It doesn't affect my life. But it did affect my friends. We went out to a fancy restaurant, me and 5 friends. When the waiter came over, he looked at me and said, "What can I get for you, sir?" Before I could even open my mouth, one of my friends blurted out, "Oh, she's not a guy, she's just a lesbian." Everyone laughed, except me. After the waiter left, I asked her, "Why would you say that I never told you I'm a lesbian?" "Because I'm not." They rolled their eyes like I was the one being ridiculous. "Oh, come on." We all know, another friend said. "You don't have to pretend with us." I told them I wasn't pretending. I'm straight. Sure, I haven't had a boyfriend, but that's because I'm not interested in dating anyone. That doesn't magically change my orientation. But they didn't believe me. Suddenly, everyone joined in, joking about how I dress like a lesbian, how I'm hiding it, how I'm in the glass closet. One of them even said, "It's 2025. No one cares if you're gay." Then one friend, Ava, took it even further. She said I was in love with a girl named Enos, an old childhood friend whose friendship ended badly a few months ago. I vented to my friends when it happened, and I trusted them. And now here they were, using it to label me. I kept telling them to stop, that it wasn't funny. But when they saw I was serious, their tone changed. They got condescending, compassionate in the fakest way imaginable. They started lecturing me about denial, internalized homophobia, compulsory heterosexuality, embracing who I am. I stood up and yelled at them, not because they thought I was gay, but because they weren't listening to me. They decided they knew me better than I knew myself. I walked out and left them at the table. The next morning, I felt that kind of regret, where you replay everything in your head wondering if you overreacted. But honestly, what else was I supposed to do? Sit there while they rewrote my identity? I haven't talked to them since. And at this rate, I don't think I will. Story 3. I was treated like a live-in parent until CPS removed me from my own home. I'm 16, the oldest of 4 kids, and for most of my life, I wasn't treated like a child. I was treated like a third parent, or honestly, a live-in servant. My dad is an alcoholic. He doesn't work, doesn't help, barely speaks to us. My mom works long hours, which would be fine if she didn't dump every responsibility onto me. For years, I cooked all meals, watched the younger kids, helped with homework, cleaned the house, paid the bills online, forged her signature with her permission, even deposited money into my parents' account when bills were overdue. Sometimes I had to dig through my dad's wallet to find cash. Other times I used my own savings. I used so much that I eventually had nothing left. Meanwhile, my mom was going out to eat, buying snacks for my siblings, spending money on herself, never bringing anything back for me. If I asked for anything, even something small, she'd say we didn't have the money. But she always had money for herself. And if I wanted to sleep over at a friend's, nope. I need you home. They need you. I need a break. Funny how everyone needed a break except me. My grades started slipping because I couldn't keep up with everything. My guidance counselor reached out to my mom, but she ignored the emails. When she was forced into a meeting, she told me afterward, "You'll probably drop out anyway. Why waste my time?" That was the moment something inside me cracked. A few weeks later, I went to the school counselor and told her everything. The neglect, the responsibilities, the lack of food, the financial stuff, the nights my mom didn't come home, the days my dad disappeared to the bar. CPS got involved. At first, nothing happened except angry looks from my mom. But after multiple visits, they finally removed me from the home. Only me. Because magically, after the first visit, my mom filled up everyone else's lunch accounts and made it look like she just forgot. Now, I live with a family member. CPS wants to reunite me with my parents, but I've said no every single time. My siblings blame me. My mom calls me spoiled. My dad doesn't care. But I'm safe. I sleep. I eat. I go to school like a normal kid. And for the first time, I'm starting to realize that none of this was my fault. I didn't abandon my family. They abandoned me first. Story 4. My ex-husband bought his mistress a gift, and I gave it to our daughter. Back in 2018, my marriage was already falling apart, but I didn't know how badly until one Christmas trip exposed everything. My ex-husband, let's call him Joe, was acting strange the entire visit to his sister's house, whispering with her outside, guarding his backpack, like it contained national secrets, getting jumpy every time I walked into the room. A month before the trip, I'd found a prepaid card in his wallet. He claimed it was for work. I didn't believe him, but we were already on thin ice, so I pretended to drop it. Then one night, while he was showering, curiosity got the best of me. I opened his backpack. Inside were 2 bracelets, fancy rose gold, obviously expensive, and a gift bag. And the moment I saw them, I knew they weren't for me. I hate bracelets. He knows I hate bracelets. And the style wasn't even remotely something I'd wear. So I hid them. When we got home, he panicked. He tore apart our bedroom, screaming, "Where are the bracelets?" I played dumb. He claimed they were for our anniversary. Right. The anniversary he had forgotten the year before. I didn't mention it again until I got into his phone a month later. And there it was. Text messages, hotel confirmations, romantic garbage that made me want to bleach my eyes. The bracelets were for his side piece. Fast forward 2 years. We divorced. Surprisingly amicably, maybe, because he wanted it too. While packing up old stuff, I found the bracelets I'd hidden and forgotten about. Our daughter, 15 at the time, loved jewelry. I didn't want the bracelets, so I wrapped them up as a Christmas gift. Christmas morning, she opened the box and gasped. "They're beautiful." Her face lit up. I glanced over at Joe. He looked like someone had drained all the blood out of his body. His eyes were glued to the bracelets like they were cursed objects. I didn't say a word. Neither did he. But he knew. And I knew he knew. And honestly, that moment was worth every second of heartbreak. And that wraps up today's stories. If you enjoyed the ride, feel free to subscribe, or drop a comment. It helps the channel more than you know, and I love hearing your takes on these situations. Thanks for listening to Reddit Echoes. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and stay far away from people like these. And that wraps up today's stories. If you enjoyed the ride, feel free to like, subscribe, or drop a comment. It helps the channel more than you know, and I love hearing your takes on these situations. Thanks for listening to Reddit Echoes. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and stay far away from people like these.